Hey, thanks for joining me today. You're listening to the Sit Down with Roman Gray. As you get older, or at least as I get older, you start to really hate doing things that you don't align with. You get tired of working tedious jobs. You become sickened by the idea that you live to work. And yet, you see all these other people going after the things they want while you're not. I started to feel all these things a few years ago, and I still didn't pursue the things I really wanted back then. Obviously, the answers to this question are going to vary depending on many different circumstances. So I figured I'll share what the case was and sometimes still is for me. After some thinking, I realized one of the reasons why I and a lot of other people spend such a large part of their life doing things they don't like is because such a big part of life begins with figuring out who we are and what we want. And from the very beginning, we try to figure all these things out about us while having to deal with other people's opinions and pressures forced onto us from an early age. By the time you start to get a handle on who you are, you might already be on a path that you're told is secure. You might be in a relationship that you're scared of leaving. And so we begin to feel like, hey, this is my life right now, but it'll change soon enough. But then that change doesn't come, and your time continues to be filled with things that you don't care about or you don't believe in. And before you know it, 10 or so years have passed. And you're stuck at the same question you had in the beginning. Why am I still doing things I don't like? I thought of inertia, the resistance to any change in speed, velocity, direction, or motion. Inertia is the tendency to do nothing or remain unchanged. So in terms of life, it's easier to keep doing what we're already doing than taking a risk to do something better or something different, even if that something we're doing is nothing. Have you ever heard of the word ennui? There are a few definitions for what ennui means, but I found a good explanation for it. This person said, we can tentatively define ennui as the state of emptiness that the soul feels when it's deprived of interest in action, life, and the world. A condition that is the immediate consequence of the encounter with nothingness and has an immediate effect of disaffection with reality. In other words that are perhaps not as good, it means a feeling of utter weariness and discontent, typically from things like dissatisfaction from your surroundings or lack of interest. Sometimes even an almost chronic boredom that leaves us feeling uninterested and unfulfilled. Like you feel the world is emptied of its significance. It's crazy that I discovered this word now because it explains exactly what I was going through about 3 years ago. For a while, I used to live on autopilot mode. So I guess I wasn't really living, I was just kind of there, going through the motions and nothing more. I thought a lot of times this is because we're trying to please other people or live up to certain expectations. We're trying to meet the demands of a life that was invented by someone else. So most of our time, which means most of our days, which means big chunks of our lives, are taken up by trying to keep up with everyone else. And then that's why a midlife crisis happens. You realize your life has been on autopilot and you haven't really been involved and done things that you wanted. It's when it comes to that point where we start to make choices that tip the scale and finally do the things we want to do. For so many people, only then do they finally start to pursue the things they want and the relationships they enjoy. A lot of times because that's when they realize time is ticking away. I never wanted that for myself, to come to that realization and start living for myself when I've already lived about half my life. So it feels like I've sped up time and I'm having my midlife crisis right now. And since I'm having my midlife crisis right now, or if I'm being honest, I've probably been having my midlife crisis for a couple years now, I'm having all the thoughts that come with it. All the questions about why haven't I done the things I want? What's stopping me? What's stopping me now? Are these real obstacles or are they all in my head? I thought I'd share some of those thoughts with you. I was afraid of committing to something else. I never thought I was good enough for almost anything. I was scared of standing out and being judged if I decided to do what I actually want. I was scared of starting over, afraid to build something from the ground up, which meant sacrificing time. And I'm scared of wasting time. Then I thought of some things that maybe plague all of us. We let our lives be led by people who we think know better when they don't, or only know better for themselves and not necessarily for us. Perhaps we're afraid to create obstacles for ourselves and to put pressure on ourselves to overcome those obstacles that we know are necessary to achieve what it is we really want. A lot of times we let our short-term wants take control over our long-term desires. People simply get too comfortable in complacency and become lazy to try and do something for themselves. And we want to impress people we know and don't know. Obviously, there are times in life where we, unfortunately, may not have a choice because for a lot of us, life is about survival. We need to do what we need to do in order to support ourselves. We need to maintain life. I understand that. I know that feeling. But even in those cases, there are still things we can do for ourselves that we enjoy, that we want to do. Something that at least still makes us happy and makes us want to get up every day. Even in those periods of life where it's all about survival and it's really stressful, we can still carve out time and give the last of our energy to things that make us feel fulfilled. To leave you with some final food for thought, here's a quote from Seneca. It is not that we are given a short life, but we make it short, and we are not ill-supplied, but wasteful of it. Hey guys, I just want to take a moment to say something really important. So instead of the usual outro that I do, I have some really pretty exciting news actually. I have just launched my very first store ever. There was so much work that went into this. I mean, just so much headaches, just one big headache of love. Please, when you're done listening to this, head over to my site. Again, the website is called itsromangray.com. Everything is now available for pre-order, so head over there, see if you like anything. If you like something, hey, support me, support this podcast. And just because it's a first for me, I'm offering a discount across the whole store, so please check it out. The store officially launches February 1st. It would mean the world to me. And until next time.